excuse me, I would say. More so in the concept that it laid the foundation for me to sort of spend some time being a little more introspective and sort of realizing the lessons I learned after the fact. Before I had even attended a meeting, I think I was 14 years old the first Devilpups meeting that I went to. And, as a young teenage boy, probably the one thing I wanted more than anything was just to be respected by others and to have sort of do things that earns the sort of merit amongst other people. To be able to say I've achieved things and have other people think, wow, that young man has really done incredible things. So I didn't really know what that looked like, and I forget how it came up in the conversation, but I'd been talking to my dad, and he mentioned that there was a program where kids my age, we'd go down to Camp Pendleton, and for about 10 days you'd get to go train with the Marines, and I was like, that's it, right there. That's how I'm going to do it. And he said, it's not just the camp. I know the guy that runs it, and they do meetings every week. And I was like, okay, perfect. When's the next meeting? I believe we were in contact with both Rafiq and Clint, and I showed up on a Tuesday afternoon at 2:30 p.m. to a CrossFit gym, not knowing what lay in store for me for the next two or 3 hours. And it was probably, I hadn't had much experience working out necessarily at that point. And I told them this a while later, but on my way out from that first workout, I threw up in my mouth, and I tried to go to the bathroom, but the door was open, and I was like, And so Rafiq walked me to another bathroom, and I was like, and then I left. And I genuinely did not want to go back, because I was like, Mom, that was horrible. I didn't tell her that, but I thought that, and she was like, I mentioned to her my hesitancy to return, and she said, you know what, I think it would be good for you. And I was like, fine. So I went back, and I kept going back, and quite honestly, that was probably one of the best decisions I've made in my life at this point, was to continue with this program, because not even the camp, but just the year-round program that they had run before was just really very beneficial to me. And then the actual camp, that was a whole nother can of worms. I knew they wanted me to go to it, and I said okay, and I signed out all the paperwork, and I gave them my money with my envelope of forms, and I hopped on a bus, and I got there, and I didn't realize I was in for a whole lot of hardship and misery. I was in for challenge, which led to growth. Okay? I spent that 7 days, like many people have said before, very, very challenging. One of the most challenging things I've done to date, but especially at the time. It was just something I was not used to, an environment I had not been exposed to, just a really unique experience to me. And it taught me a few things, but among them I feel the most important was to realize that because like I mentioned before, probably the thing I wanted the most was for people to respect me. And I would say that, respect is something that, true respect is something not a lot of people are really able to earn. And what that camp taught me was to get something a lot of people don't have, you have to do something a lot of people don't do. And that being going through hardship and enduring it, because there's not a lot of people who are willing to intentionally expose themselves to that sort of challenge, not only in order to grow as a person, but to just grow generally. And I think that really not only helped me, gave me a lot of practical lessons, but like I mentioned before, it just laid the foundation for me to realize that to achieve great things, you have to do great things, and great things aren't easy to do. So I really think that that's one of the main things that the camp taught me. Contrary to what one of the people who wrote in said, I hated the swimming. The most terrifying thing of the whole week, in my opinion. Jumping off those towers was probably it was like the pinnacle. Like Old Smoky was on the downhill for me compared to jumping off that tower. It was the most, so scary. But I brought myself to do it because people were yelling at me, so I had to. But there was nothing, really just nothing compared to that feeling of having that challenge point ceremony up on top of Old Smoky, and just having our platoon sergeant just say a few words of congratulations to us, giving us that challenge coin, and for me to just know that I had successfully completed the camp and that I had done something that was great, that not that many people ever bring themselves to do. So I think that was one of the lessons that it taught me. And after the fact, that lesson has only gone deeper for me. It doesn't only apply to physical things. It does apply to physical things, but it also applies to succeeding in any arena of life, business, education. To achieve great things in any arena of life, you have to do things that people aren't willing to do. You have to pull an all-nighter for your business every now and then if you want it to be great. You have to spend that much extra time on those assignments. Spend that much extra time doing extra credit if you really want to excel in those areas. And I think that's the main lesson I took away from this